My stepsister married the billionaire fiancé who was supposed to be mine. When she walked past me with her arm around his, her smug smile hurt my eyes. Sister, you can't handle such a huge fortune. I have to bear it for you, she said lightly. I smiled and said nothing. Later, she was beaten all over by the debt collectors, and the way she knelt in front of me and begged was so pitiful. I was locked in the house by my sister. Today is the day Jack returns home. He is my fiancé since childhood, and this marriage was arranged by my mother and Jack's mother when they were young. My stepmother knew about this a long time ago. She has always looked down on me, so how could she let such a good thing happen to me? They locked me in the room and had my stepsister take my place. Chloe kicked me in the stomach. I was already starving, and I curled up on the floor in pain. She pulled my arm roughly, her eyes full of sarcasm. Sister, I took away your things for 20 years, and now I've taken away your fiancé. How do you feel? Do you hate me? I glared at her and wanted to fight back, but I was too painful to move. She slapped me in the face and said, how dare you stare at me? Don't even think about resisting me. My cheeks felt burning. Chloe was very pleased with my plight. Who should you blame for your 25 years of suffering? Your short-lived mother for leaving you in this world? Blame her, you poor motherless creature. By the way, maybe you don't know this yet. I was the one who killed your mother. I froze. Everyone said that my mother was attacked and killed by thugs. I once suspected my stepparents, but those thugs later died mysteriously. Even if I wanted to investigate, I had no evidence. Chloe laughed so hard that her body shook. This is what you and your mother get for being so beautiful. You deserve to be ruined. I clenched my fists and shook with anger. No, now is not the time to fight back. I have to be patient for a while. Chloe kicked me again. When I was little, I went to buy candy and saw your mom lying on the ground. I was scared at first. I came closer and found that she was still breathing weakly. Do you want to know what happened next? She squatted down and whispered in my ear. She weakly called me Chloe and begged me to call 911. Her cell phone was next to her, but I didn't hit her. Ha ha ha. I watched her die with my own eyes. The only thing I thought was, you don't have a mother now, but I still have one. I don't know why, but I feel especially happy when I see you in pain. The more miserable you are, the happier I am. I felt my blood curdle and my body stiffen. The stepmother's voice came from the door. Why are you telling her this? Go see your fiancé. Here we go, Mom. Chloe yelled. I stared out the window at the sunset, biting my lip until I tasted blood. Then I calmed myself down, memories flashing through my mind. Suddenly, I smiled. They won't be able to keep on being arrogant for much longer. From the moment I was born, I knew I was living in a story. I knew how it was going to play out. My so-called billionaire fiancé was actually a hypocrite, a genteel man on the outside but rotten on the inside. He was a gambler, a womanizer, and was eventually shot dead. After enduring endless torture, his wife committed suicide by jumping off a building. My stepmother and her daughter will die too. The fate of this mother and daughter is the retribution for their evil deeds. If things go according to the script, they will fall sooner or later, but I never expected that things would take such a turn. I suspect the Jack Johnson in the story was replaced. He lazily lay on the sofa, and his stepmother Fiona brought him tea, smiling from ear to ear. Oh my god, what a handsome face. I like this son-in-law more and more. She reached out to touch Jack's face, but Chloe immediately pushed her hand away. Mom, what are you doing? She shouted angrily. Fiona smiled and said, okay, I know he's yours. I won't snatch him away, you petty-minded person. I sat opposite and watched the scene, and couldn't help laughing. It turned out that there was a scene in the story where the mother and daughter were jealous of each other for the man's favor. My smile caught Jack's attention. He asked, who is she? Fiona quickly said, that's Chloe, Abigail's sister I told you about. Really? Why do I feel like she is the real Abigail Quinn? Jack said. The room was silent. Fiona panicked. No, it's impossible. You have never met. I told you she was Chloe. Why would I lie to you? She hurried me into another room and locked me up again. But Jack said, wait a minute. Fiona swallowed nervously. Jack smiled and said, she's Abigail Quinn, right? You know, it's a crime to assume someone else's identity. Fiona grabbed my arm and I could feel her hand shaking violently. Chloe stepped forward to protect Fiona. This was all my idea. Don't blame my mom. I couldn't help but frown as I listened to their conversation. In my memory, Jack married Chloe without question and was completely kept in the dark. Does he know something? Looking into Jack's dark and mysterious eyes, I had a bad feeling. The room was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Suddenly, Jack laughed. It was a cruel and dangerous laugh. Why are you so nervous? Even if she is the real Abigail, my heart is already with Chloe. Let's get married as planned. Anyway, you are all Quinn family members. Chloe's eyes lit up when she heard this. She grabbed Jack's arm and asked excitedly, really? Do you really mean that? Jack patted her head. Of course. Fiona patted Jack's shoulder happily. You bad boy. You almost gave me a heart attack. As punishment, you have to drink with me tonight. Chloe looked at me proudly and said, sister, it seems that you are not blessed enough to enjoy all this wealth and luxury. Thank you for your kindness, but even if you give me this good luck, I don't want it. Jack's behavior tonight made me suspicious. His tone, logic, and even appearance were completely different from the character I remembered from the story. I have a bold guess. He may have been replaced. I don't know if this is a friend or an enemy. I'm also not sure if this shift means he's now on the path of righteousness. If that's the case, then I'll have to take revenge myself. I couldn't figure it out for a moment. I turned to go back to my room, but Chloe grabbed my arm. She looked down at me arrogantly and ordered, bring me a basin of water to wash my feet. You see, she's already putting on airs before she's officially Mrs. Johnson. Unfortunately, I had no intention of pampering her. I poured a bucket of scalding hot water over her. The boiling water instantly turned her skin red. She let out a scream. Abigail, do you want to kill me? Mom, beat her to death. Chloe was red all over, as if she had just been pulled out of boiling water. She ran to throw cold water while crying. When she passed by, I slapped her hard twice. Sister, stop pretending. I have tolerated you for a long time today. If I hadn't wanted her to marry Jack smoothly, I would have run away long ago. Do they really think they can trap me with that little bit of cleverness? Fiona rushed over to me and tried to hit me, but I grabbed her arms and turned her over. Her flabby bottom hit the floor hard and she cried out in agony. Ooh, I sneered. Stepmother, you are so arrogant. Are you protected by an animal protection organization? Unfortunately, you are just two mad dogs. Next time you yell at me, I promise to beat you so hard that you won't even be able to pay for your medical treatment. I didn't give them a chance to react and went straight back to the apartment. As soon as I opened the door, my cat, Sweetie, jumped into my arms and nuzzled me. I stroked her fur and fed her when the door rang. Through the peephole, I saw it was Jack. I frowned and didn't intend to let him in, but he said, "You're awake, aren't you?" My heart skipped a beat. What does he know? Don't be so extreme. We are a family after all. I couldn't help but laugh. You liar. Are you here to speak for them? Jack, yeah. Don't go against your stepsister. It seemed that he was indeed on their side. My clenched fists were shaking violently. What if I don't listen? I asked back. Jack didn't respond. There was a long silence before I realized he was gone. It looked like he would have to be dealt with as well. The wedding is scheduled for 3 days later. Prior to this, I cashed in a winning lottery ticket and used the money to hire some people. But I didn't expect to run into Chloe on the street. She was dressed up beautifully, and when she saw me her eyes blazed with anger and she rushed over to hit me. But Jack grabbed her arm. What are you doing? Jack, she scalded me with boiling water yesterday. I must take revenge. She tried to lunge forward again, but Jack whispered, "That's enough." Chloe didn't dare to disobey, but still glared at me with gritted teeth. Sister, you were so brave yesterday. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah. Chloe looked up at Jack and said, Jack, you don't know. My sister is actually a prostitute. She didn't come home last night. Who knows which man she was fooling around with. These insults don't hurt me at all. But Jack looked at me in a meaningful way. Soon I will be the high and mighty Mrs. Johnson. When you see me then, you will have to kneel down and beg for mercy. Chloe said proudly. I found it funny. Sister, are you crazy? What nonsense are you talking about? You. She stammered angrily. Just wait and see. You're getting married in 3 days. I smiled and agreed. Okay, you will be in the coffin in 3 days. I didn't expect Chloe's revenge to be so brutal. That night, I was knocked unconscious when I was about to get off work. When I woke up, I found myself tied to the bed. I sneered in disgust. I cut the rope with my knife, opened the door, and found myself in a hotel. I hid behind the wall and saw a dark figure sneak into the room I just left. Not long after, I heard him swearing on the phone. What the hell are you doing? The person on the other side said something. The man said helplessly, I don't care. Come and see for yourself. A few minutes later, Chloe showed up at the hotel, but before she could say anything, the man roughly dragged her into the room, where her shrill screams were heard.